Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Journeyman. Today is August 28th, 2020, and it is the US and most of the world release date for Bill and Ted Face the Music. It has been 29 years since we last saw Bill and Ted on the screen in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and my oh my. I just finished watching the film, and I'm going to do this quick review slash reaction. And at a later date, probably in a week or so, when I rewatch it a couple of times more, I will do a more in-depth review of the film and the franchise as a whole. But this is just my initial reaction to the film. First things first, yes, I'm in the UK, and the release date for Bill and Ted Face the Music in the UK was September 23rd, 2020, and today they actually announced that they're moving it forward to September 16th, which is still no good for the UK, and it's cinema only, which ain't good as well, especially in a pandemic. But before you all start panicking and being like, "Oh, how did you watch it then?" Well, I watched it legally and I paid for it, which, if you've been following writer Ed Solomon, has been saying to a lot of the UK fans, because it's out of their control, the UK release date. He's like, use a VPN, rent it or buy it from a US outlet, which is what I did. Used my NordVPN, and thank you Voodoo.com for making it easy for me to watch. I paid $17.49. So if anyone in the UK or other parts of the world wants to watch it legitimately, like myself, all I did was go to use the VPN, did a US location, and just got the film. Used PayPal, so there was no sort of saved address. It just went bang straight through to PayPal. I did use my PayPal balance to pay for it rather than a card. I don't know if that makes any difference, if anyone does have any problems, but use your PayPal balance to pay to buy or rent it. Anyway, Bill and Ted Face the Music. What is my initial reaction? Holy shit! I've been so excited. Obviously, if you follow this channel, you know as well. I've got my aligners in as well, so I sound a bit like Sylvester the cat again. But yeah, I just wanted to get this out there while I still had them initial feelings bubbling. I had that little. I've just been so fucking excited to watch this film. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was the first film I seen in the cinema. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was one of the first real films that had an impact on me. Something that I left the theatre as a kid, or the cinema as a kid, and taking things away from it. I've told the story where, me and my friend, we used to fucking dress as Bill and Ted. We used to make phone boxes and characters out of old cereal boxes. And, when we did that for years, I had a homemade Wild Stallions hat. And, just my love for these films follows me to this day. And, yeah, I had that little moment, if anyone's seen the film Fanboys about Star Wars, where they're just spend the whole film trying to watch an early cut of Phantom Menace. But right at the end, when they sit there on opening night to watch the film, just as the Lucasfilm logo comes up, they turn to each other and they're like, "Well, but what if it sucks?" I was just like, "Oh god!" But then, bang, that Orion logo come on, and holy moly, this film, um, it was an emotional roller coaster. I was going through all the emotions. It opened. Spoiler alert. Obviously, why would you listen to this without watching Bill and Ted before? But spoiler alert. There will be spoilers. I'm not going to go into them majorly. I'll do that in the later review. But it opens with sort of like here, like with Bill and Ted's daughters, giving a brief overview. This is the last. Remember, this is the last time you saw Bill and Ted. This is what they've done. And at that point, I've got the lump in my throat. My eyes are glazing. They're not glazing over. They're tearing up a little bit. And then it's like, bang, this is them now. Opens present day San Dimas. They're at Missy and Deacon's wedding, which is hilarious. And yeah, like you've seen in the trailers and like with my trailer reactions, it's pretty much this is where they're at, and they still haven't written the song that aligns the universe and unites the world, and but the consequences now are even more serious than they initially thought. Um, but fucking hell, it was you know it was just like checking in with old friends. It's almost like a school reunion, and you haven't. I mean, it's different now because everyone's on Facebook and Instagrams and that. But there's a lot of people. I mean, I don't really use Facebook, and there's a lot of people that I haven't seen since school, which is coming up to 20 years, and I'll bump into them here and there, and I'll be like, holy shit. And it was kind of like that with Bill and Ted. We've seen Keanu Reeves in everything. We've been following Alex Winter over the years, and just seeing these guys again, it was like, holy shit. It's been a long time. We've all grown up, but you're still who I remember. When I still like you. Um, and then they go on their adventure, to try and write this song that it's almost in real time, they've got like 77 minutes or something like that to write the song. Otherwise, it's the end of time and space basically. And oh my, it was just, I was laughing, and there's just so many little tidbits in there. I want to keep this short, but I could actually talk about this film for hours on end. Um, there's little nods to George Carlin. There's a nod to George Carlin in there as Rufus, and it's just, it just pulls on the heartstrings a little bit. And you're like, holy fuck, this is my childhood. This is just, it's, the film in a nutshell was everything I wanted it to be, and I got everything, that I wanted from the film. And, um, you know, it was kind of strange watching it. It's a similar feeling to I had with the first time I watched Jurassic World, and the first time I watched that, I was actually on my own, like in a preview in a cinema, and this is the same experience I've had here watching it at home alone. But it's a weird feeling. These films are from a period where, like, when you first experienced them, were from a period long ago in your life, in your childhood, and you spent the majority of your life with them films, watching them over and over and again, and falling even more in love with them. And like with the Jurassic Park films, well, I say the films, it was the first and second one really, and I waited 14 years from Jurassic Park 3 to Jurassic World, but really I waited, um, what was it, like 18 years, because the Lost World to Jurassic World. And that's a long time, and it feels different. It feels strange to get into it, because a lot of time has passed, and it isn't that consistent time frame between sequels. The first two Jurassic Parks and 3 are within an X amount of years of each other, so there's a kind of a Jurassic Park 3, but there's a kind of a tone that carries on, and there's a feeling. It's in that it's a time capsule of that period, and then you jump forward all this time, and it's the roots are there, and the everything is there, but it's just different because a lot of time has passed. And that's the same with this film. Everything is there. The the characters, the story, the feeling, the vibe is all there, but it feels different. It feels a little bit strange because it's been 30 years basically. Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey were a time capsule of the late 80s, early 90s, California scene. And now it's 30 years later. Times have changed. Everything's different. There's nothing is the same as it was back then. So it's gonna be different. But, as soon as the film starts rolling, other than that sort of not uncomfortable, but just feeling, it just feels a little odd at first. But, once the story starts rolling and they start getting into their adventure, it just, all of that is, that feeling of unfamiliarity just becomes familiarity, because you're just, okay, we're back in it, we're full on in this adventure now. And it's there's a couple of little bits, some of like the blue screen work when they go into the future, and that is a little bit odd because, again, it's Bill and Ted, although there was sort of like green screeny stuff in Bill and Ted, but we've gone from like that 80s 90s vibe and feel to film to now 2020 CGI green screen. It's a lot cleaner, it's a lot smoother, and it looks a lot different. But that's just visual stuff that you notice on first viewing. But other than that, I mean, that's all my little picks are just little things of like, it's just different. But that's not a complaint, because it's gonna feel different. I know it's gonna feel different. I know I'm not gonna sit there and be like, this looks exactly the same as Bill and Ted. This feels exactly the same as Bill and Ted, because it's not. I mean, it is Bill and Ted and all of that, and everything is, but the visually, it's not Bill and Ted. Them two films were filmed 30 years ago and 33 years ago at this point, and you're never gonna capture that, what that actually looks like. As I said before, with the time capsule. So, if anyone is actually expecting it to feel like an actual, like, one, two, three, like three beats, these three films, the Bill and Ted 1, 2, and 3, you're not going to get that, because there's such a gap between 2 and 3. But, if you take that mindset out the window and you just watch it for what it is, you will get that, as, if you go in with that open mind. Like I did, I was just like, at the end, I actually sat there and I was like, wow, we actually have a perfect trilogy of films. You know, the vibe. It's kind of like I'm contradicting myself when I'm saying the vibe's there, the feel's there. That's what I mean. The heart is there. Bill and Ted heart is there. But it's a different film. It's a different kind of storyline. But so was 1 and 2. Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey were completely different from each other, but the heart of Bill and Ted were there. And this is the same, and that's why it's perfect, because they've got the heart, they've all got that Bill and Ted feeling, but they're all completely different, and that's fucking great. But sort of just just dropped something. But cutting back to my reaction of the film, holy crap, the ending when they finally, with the help of their daughters, I thought the daughter character, Samara Weaving, and who's the name of Ted's daughter? The name slips me. Bridget Lundy Payne, who played Billy and Thea. Holy shit, they were fucking awesome characters. And I really, it's not that I care, but it'd been good to see the reactions of the people who are like, "Ooh, it's going to be woke and all this, that, and the other." I just can't wait to see them eat their words about these characters. They fucking play it so well. They're not copying Bill and Ted, but it's almost like how a genuine son or daughter of such a character like Bill and Ted would be, you know. And the way that they're integrated into this story it is brilliant, And at the end, when they put Bill and Ted finally get around to, all the plan comes together and all the bricks fall into place to put this one performance on to unite the world and everyone and the universe. It is, I can't describe it. It is, you know, it is. See, I'm lost for words, because I just started bawling my eyes out. It was just such a magical moment. It's so perfect, and that's what I mean. Even thinking about it, I'm kind of lost for words. It choked me up. There was tears rolling down my face. I had the biggest lump in my throat, and it was just such a perfect moment. It was just seeing Bill and Ted fulfilling their destiny. And it's not only that; it's seeing the joy and that on their face, and the performance that Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves are giving in that scene. It's like them themselves, Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, are fulfilling their destiny. That unfinished chapter of Bill and Ted. The closing chapter, the final story, the final tale of these characters after 30 years has finally been completed, and the book is finally closed, and it is just phenomenal. I mean, that's all I can say. At this point, is just that fucking ending killed me. I think if you watch the Comic Con at Home interview with the whole cast hosted by Kevin Smith, I think his opening statement about the film, like he says it for a few minutes, he just says his experience about it. And the way he describes it is probably the most perfect way you could describe it. It's just such a fucking good film. I mean, it's not perfect, but it is the perfect Bill and Ted 3. And, other than that, that's sort of all I got to say on this short, which has ended up being like 15 minutes, but this short review reaction. I would do a more in-depth review and a trilogy review or an overview in the coming weeks. But that is it. Bill and Ted Face the Music is out. You can watch it legally wherever you are in the world, as I said. Just get yourself a VPN and a PayPal account and go to voodoo.com. VUDU, that's who I use. That's not a paid promotion or anything. That's just who I used, and it was easy peasy. Remember, I used my PayPal balance to pay it. I'm not sure if you haven't got PayPal balance, if you use a card, if that's registered to wherever you are in the world, if that's going to have an effect. But that's just the way I did it. So, but if you're listening to this, you would have watched it by now anyway. But if you have done a sneaky sneak and not watched it legally, and you want to support the film, at least do it that way, or wait till it actually comes out genuinely in your country, and then just give a kickback to the makers and all that, because this film took so long to make because of one of the reasons was because it was financially, no one wanted to invest in it. So let's at least show our appreciation to them. And, not that I don't think there ever will be a Bill and Ted 4, and the film no way at all leaves it open-ended for a Bill and Ted 4. It closed it nicely. But you never know, if we could get something different or something more in this Bill and Ted universe, I'm all for it. But yeah, thanks for listening and watching. Socials are on your screen now. They've been on the screen the whole time, so please follow. You can also see on my Twitter account, my personal one, that I did put the picture of my purchase. So if anyone's like, oh, you didn't pay for it legally, you can see it on there. I proved it. So thank you very much. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.